All right, I do have a chat window, so now I can see what's in chat. So if we can't talk, all right, I see 24 participants now. All right, so let's go ahead. Our topic tonight is stopping a promising attack. And for any of you,
John,
yes?
just to make you feel comfortable, somebody just tested that they can hear and they can hear you clearly and they can see your presentation. So please feel free to go ahead.
Okay, great. So stopping a promising attack is the current proper terminology for what we used to talk about as tactical fouls or professional fouls, but anything that is used to deliberately stop play and not, make a soccer play, but just take someone out of an attack or a situation in order to delay the game and get their team has a chance to get reorganized and better defend against the situation they were probably facing at the time the foul occurred. The laws of the game mandate a caution to be issued for unsporting behavior in cases where they either handle the ball to interfere with or stop a promising attack, or commits any other offense which interferes with or stops a promising attack, except where the referee awards a penalty kick for an offense which was an attempt to play the ball. That I guess is supposed to be covered as a dog so. When it's in the penalty area, you are issued the yellow card there, but there it's dog so, not unsporting behavior. We do have one exception, and I'll come back to that in a bit. But let's first of all talk about some of the things you're going to look at when evaluating for a promising attack. First item would be speed. Is there speed in the attack that is likely to go past the defense? The players are moving forward with pace in their attack and greater than the mass of off the ball players. So that's one thing you can look for. Second thing would be space. There should be open space in front of the player with the ball to either dribble, pass, and or shoot. And the open space may be in front of other teammates that they can pass to. And finally, options. If the player has a number of options to take on a defender, pass, or otherwise play with in having multiple choices, then those are considerations that typically lead to situations where you would look for the promising attack to be cautionable. So let's get into some videos here. Unfortunately, we won't be able to hear. Tell you what, I can see the chat window, I believe. So let's try to do comments via chat, and hopefully I can address those via that. But our first video here is going to be
mas o corte do João Moutinho fazendo a abertura. Pode sair aqui o remate da Teixão. E há corte ou falta? Há falta. E se há falta... Exatamente. Há cartão amarelo para Drew Moore. Teixão deita ali as mãos à cabeça. Queria mais do que amarelo. Não parece, até porque está ali a Bubacar.
Somebody can use their chat window to post what foul they're going to call there.
Está lateralmente para a baliza. Não tem a baliza de frente. Está de lado para...
Well, that's a tripping foul. And the key thing that I thought was most blatant in that situation was that the defender slid through the path of the attacker. He wasn't sliding to get the ball. He was simply sliding through the path of the attacker. Let's try this window here. Q&A says chat is disabled. So let's see what we can do about that. All right, all right, I can see questions and answers, so let's go there then, since I don't know what is going on with the chat. So, all right, our next video. Maybe that'll make chat better. Maybe that will enable chat for everyone now. Let's try that. I believe this one was a handling, or yeah. You can see that he just stuck his arm out there. All right, next clip.
Puede pasar a Perry Kitchen, quien tira la pelota al frente, la va a aguantar el Chicharito y se está apoyando en Sebastián Lechet. Y aquí está la falta de Bonnie García y se va a hacer acreedor a la primera tarjeta del partido. Iván Casanseo.
Merecida, me parece. Goyen lo sabe y pide disculpas al futbolista de Los Ángeles Galaxy.
Primera amonestado entonces el encuentro es Bonnie García. Usted puede escuchar esta transmisión a través del idioma inglés y para saber cómo conectarnos con el SAP, saludamos a Chris y sobre todo también a Ramses All Access Sandoval.
J-Lo, José.
So that clip is a good time to bring up a second category of tactical fouls, which is the blatant and cynical offenses. And that one's a good example of a defender blatantly or cynically holding or tripping or charging an attacker as they are starting or during an attack. In this consideration, the nature of the holding, that was a charge or tripping, is one that cannot be ignored, even if the promising attack is only just emerging or the offense occurs well into the defensive half. So, plays where they back in, for example, there's no attempt to play the ball. Those are the type of fouls that should instantly raise your considerations of SPA being present if there's an attack to go forward from there. And there we had a two-hand grab of the shoulders of the attacker to throw him off stride. Which allowed him to catch up and poke the ball away. All right, Ryan posted one. Aren't there like 4 defenders behind the ball? I believe that was might have been on an earlier video, but really the number of defenders later on doesn't mean that you don't have a promising attack. If the person is broken into space, Ryan, can you post again about which, was it the handling or the grab? I think we went. The third video was, oh, this one here. Okay. Yeah, I would say that one's for the blatancy of the foul. There was no attempt to play the ball there, and he did have space to pass to the wing. If he's not taken out there, the other defenders are not close by. So he still has, I would still consider that a promising tap because he had a pretty open left side of the field. It looked like he could pass from there, even if he's got 3 or 4 defenders within 5 to 10 yards of his immediate area. See how open the defenders are over here. If there's another player that he can pass square to, that player went inside, but I would still consider that a promising attack. You don't want your defenders taking players out like that anyway. So you could, that could be somewhat reckless as well. Bruce, that's a good point. We're more worried about the number of defenders when you're looking at a dog so versus a spot.
To give us a visit and see how the old Triumph are doing. How about the culture from Greenville? Uh-oh. Pilato gets a tug from Brotherton, and I mean, you're gonna expect a booking here.
At least he was very lucky that he had some help back. When I picked his pocket, was looking to go the other way. Brotherton with a smart decision. Oh, that one's the red. He's not going to get it because there was Madison defenders in the vicinity.
It'll be Brotherton's second yellow card of the season. It's his 4th start, 5th appearance of the season. Talked about in the first half, he's in the center of that back line today, and Greenville a couple times have been trying to give him some fits in there. Noah Pilato just full on.
Now, the one
Back in
comment,
September, media outlets around.
sorry, that's YouTube doing what YouTube does there. Let's see. I will comment just on the one aspect of the hold there. I've never been able to drag down someone with sorry about that. Anyway, I've never been able to drag down someone with one hand who didn't want to go down. So, but the hold happened nevertheless. And typically most referees give that foul as the attacker going down in order to make the hold evident. So. So he had both a trip and a hip check in that one, so that made it pretty definite that he was taking the attacker out and really didn't care about playing the ball. It just wasn't going to give the foul, and he did it. He got the contact just outside the box. So it's very close to dog so Walter. I agree. But I specifically chose it because it's not dog so, because we're not covering dog so in this presentation, because we're saving that, I think, for another one later in the year. So.
Well done, Viv.
Pretty straightforward on that slide tackle by Ballack. No attempt to play the ball, just wanted to disrupt the attack. This one is a little different, though. And unfortunately, it doesn't have a good lead up. It's going to be immediately into what you're going to notice here.
Go into the book, and this is why just trying to buy a little bit of time. Well, the
So let me.
card for Ter Stegen. Like
You saw that little bit of video there, and this is really the continuation, because they didn't set this up right. There's
the fact that they need to take advantage of this dominance.
goalkeeper saw
Three goes across to have
the opponents taking a quick corner kick
Stegen.
and threw a second ball on the sidelines out into play to delay the restart.
Stegen, comes the first player to go into the book, and this is why just trying to buy a little bit of time. Well,
So there will be unusual situations like that you'll just have to be alert to it and realize that it's the weird ones are the ones to delay the restart of play with whatever method they can use. I was at a game a couple weekends ago, an adult match, and the goalkeeper decided to do a lot of dribbling outside the box, and he got caught on one, and the opponent kicked the ball off of his leg and it dribbled out of bounds. Well, he didn't run back to the goal. He ran over and kicked the ball farther down the sideline, so it'd take them longer to go get the ball. And it had to be cautioned because they would have been able to throw that in, and somebody could have taken a long kick with no goalkeeper anywhere close to the goal.
Handing me that Pamadou Carr is now on a hat trick. Could become the third Whitecaps player to get one. And Kendall Waston is going to get a yellow card here from Mark Geiger. Waston needs to just calm himself down a little bit. Angry reaction. There's no doubt that he stepped up and blocked Clint Dempsey's progress. Frustration from the big man. Just to focus on the task at hand now, which is defending this free kick.
All right, so let's go to the Q&A here. How many people would at least consider the fact that more than the rest of the clips, the defender there was trying to play the ball? It didn't look like he went a long ways out of his way to get Dempsey, but the contact occurred. that may allow you to manage the situation if you don't feel it's a blatant attempt to take the player out, but there is some element of trying to play the ball. So let's use the Q&A to see how you feel about that possibly being managed without a card. And it's possible that Geiger knows those players and he may know something more about how the player that he cautioned, tends to handle situations like that. So there might have been more to it than that, or maybe there had been previous incidents in the game that said, all right, I'm going to go ahead and caution this one, but maybe by itself, that wouldn't have been a cautionable. All right, good comments. Those are all reasonable considerations. And it's going to vary from match to match. Well, Lisa, to your comment, I'm not sure that he wasn't attempting to play the ball. I believe Dempsey cut the ball quickly and he, didn't make a huge effort to get at the ball, but he was moving toward Dempsey, which also contributed to the collision. Bruce and Walter, those are good comments about the temperature of the match. Those are worth considering.
I feel like there's a lot of kids on my team that have been letting down baseball.
That's got to be a card. Yep, you're right, Keegan.
A little bit of a grab there. We see that in the games we work, correct? All right, so let's talk about the types of fouls that we're going to be looking for that are typically more emblematic. A cynical technical foul is also reckless. Not necessarily. Recklessness should apply to the amount of force involved. So you could have a spa foul that is also reckless, in which case you can go ahead with the recklessness. I mentioned earlier in the presentation that there was an exception that we have to keep in mind when we are looking at spa fouls. And this is the exception. If you have a foul and you play advantage, okay? If that advantage develops, you no longer have a cautionable offense for spa. If the foul is intense enough to consider it a reckless foul, then you still can caution for recklessness, but you cannot caution for spa when the advantage develops and the play continues into the next phase. So looking back at the types of fouls we've seen in the videos already, I think you will say that they're more likely to occur from charges, pushing. We've seen multiple holding or grabs, handling, we saw one, and tripping. Those are typically the types of fouls that are used when you don't care about trying to play the ball, you simply want to end the attack and give your team time to recoup. In some of the research I did, they pointed out that Manchester City, for example, has a low number of fouls. But when you take into account their number of fouls committed when they are not in possession of the ball versus the fouls that are committed when they are in possession of the ball, their numbers go up dramatically. In fact, when they are out of possession of the ball, for the per minute of play that they're out of possession of the ball, they have the highest foul count in the Premier League. And that bolsters the argument that many make that Manchester City fouls tactically as a strategy to counteract the aggressiveness with which they go into the attack and push people forward. So, situations to look for. Obviously, we've seen a couple of situations where after a turnover, you're likely to see a SPA foul committed. When the defense is disorganized and out of position, that's one of the most likely places to see a possible SPA. The second situation is if you're attacking down one side and you've got numbers in the defense, but quickly it's switched to the other side. Now you might have a couple of attackers versus, a single defender, and the number advantage that the defense had isn't there anymore. So that's a tactical situation that you can look for a possible SPA situation. And finally, go ahead and use the Q&A to answer, but what situation would you look for when we're a long ways away from goal for the attacking? What typically has happened where you would possibly have a SPA, but you're far away from goal? Anybody want to take a guess at that? I'm thinking of a more specific situation, not necessarily a turnover. I'm thinking of free kicks, both corner kicks and shots on goal, which are saved and rebound out of the area where all the defenders are. And if you get an attacker out there, they typically have a low number of opponents against them. So when you're in that attacking third, as soon as let's say you're set up for, a corner kick and you're over, in the landing zone for where the corner kick's going to come down. Well, let's say that gets headed out. The next thing you got to be immediately aware of is that next foul may occur, just after the header comes down as it's going away from goal, and look for, plays that are not legitimate attempts to defend the ball. Exactly. Bruce, that's a good one. Fast attacker with an opportunity to play the ball over the top with defenders out of the position. All right. I got two more videos to show you before we end the thing. Is there any questions at this point? So if you have any questions or situations that you've encountered that you'd like to bring up, what happened, if you can describe it in the Q&A. All right, if you do have a question, go ahead and finish typing it up. I'll go ahead to the next video here. Fortunately, I don't have slow-mo, but let's watch this one more time. And my question on this one was, did the attacker trip himself? Watch how he kind of, there's a point where he kind of kicks himself with one of his legs. I think he feels the brush of the defender on one of his steps there. And I think he kind of takes himself down there trying to draw the call. That's possible to happen in these situations. Doesn't happen all. Gotta jumped into the next one here. I'll come back on that one. Anybody who thinks that the attacker may have tripped himself there, go ahead and post up in the Q&A while I answer. Patrick Flory, would you ever give the goalie a spa foul for coming outside the box and grabbing the ball with his hands? I've even seen that qualify as dog so, depending on the situation. But certainly, if it could be dog so, it can definitely be spa. One of excuse me. If numbers, direction, and all your dog so considerations are there, then the keeper handling outside the box where he knows he should have, then that definitely would be dog so. And if you're missing one of your 4 considerations for dog so, with the possible exception of the likelihood of keeping or gaining control of the ball, if you're missing one of the other 3, then I think you definitely have a spa in every situation. If you don't have, or the likelihood of gaining the ball is questionable, that one may allow you to not have a spa, but just go with the foul that's committed. I can see how the argument that if you can't be sure that they're going to have possession of the ball, then you can't say that they've disrupted a promising attack. So again, if we will cover dog so, I believe, later in the year, and we'll get more specific about that there. All right, let's finish up here with maybe this jumped to another video that I didn't want to use. All right, let's get out of that. All right, here's the last one. This one's kind of humorous.
Everyone clapping and applauding at me. I think he's took a yellow card now. He's actually laughing, isn't he? Like everybody in the stadium, yeah.
That's the strangest yellow card you'll see all season. There'll be a break on now from Bristol City. Lugo Nines riding on the back. Have you ever seen anything like that?
That's never a free kick, is it? Yeah, everyone.
All right. If there's any more questions. Yeah, if you're 100, Brian, if you're 100% certain on the simulation, then go for it. But I have had that. I've seen a player try that more than once in a game, and I learned from the first time. So Bruce, good comment by you on the possible attacker tripping himself. there can be minor inadvertent contact that you can assess as to being an accident. And if you determine that it's not, if it is an accident, it could still be a foul, but I would not treat an accident as intent to disrupt a play. If it looks like he's simply trying to run to get into position. All right. I apologize that I was not in a mode where I could hear the rest of you, but hopefully I shared the information you were looking for regarding SPA. And I hope you'll use it to promote attacking soccer, because obviously I think the beautiful game is more the beautiful game, the more attacks we have. And if you have teams taking attacking opportunities away by blatant fouls, I think it makes it less beautiful. And that's part of the reason that I wanted to present this topic. So if you have any questions, I'll give my number. You can call or text me at my referee number, which is 224-633-6500. And I would assume that most of you are on a signer with Patrick Legg. And my information should be available in there, I believe. So if you would like to get back to me on this, I'm happy to do further discussions. So thank you for attending and have a good rest of your evening.
Hold on. Before everybody sign out, some people are signing out. John, I want to say thank you. I know at the beginning it was a little challenging trying to get it going, but I believe you did. Please, everybody, as we know, it's Illinois referee program. We take pride in the continuous education. Encourage other referees. It's only 45-minute session. We just want to give you one topic at a time. You can notice tonight, even though it's a tactical offense we're discussing, John focus was specifically on SPA. We didn't try to go too much to dog so. So look forward to next month, whatever the topic may be. Let all your other referees, let them know. And if you have a topic that you want to hear or something that you want to be engaged in, please send Jenny an email in the office. And one of our mentors or coaches will be very glad to address that topic. We are always learning, and I mean all of us. Thank you again for your time. John, well done. Thanks, everybody. Enjoy your evening. Bye-bye.